this weekend will be the rematch between Joseph Parker and Dereck Chisora. Now, I'm not typically a fan of immediate rematches, but I don't mind this fight for several reasons. And one of the primary reasons is that I feel like these two have unfinished business. Also, I don't think the first fight lived up to the all-action expectation that many people had. And also, the result, I feel, left a sour taste in some people's mouths. Me included, to be honest, because for some context, I actually picked Parker to not only win the first fight, but stop Chisora. But after watching the fight twice, once live and once since the fight happened, I still feel as if Chisora did enough to win. I guess another bonus of this fight as well is that, unlike the first fight, it's not going to be on pay-per-view. It's instead on DAZN. So I feel like that makes it, it's an acceptable fight. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. So let's break this fight down. Now, starting with Joseph Parker, he is a likable fighter. I want to say stylistically kind of, but he comes across as a very friendly person, very engaging, always gives good interviews, always very respectful and likable. But stylistically, he has some very impressive qualities. And these are qualities that have been pretty apparent throughout the course of his career. So he has a good deal of athleticism, especially speed. And see, the thing is, what makes it so impressive is the fact that being a decent-sized heavyweight as well, because he has that kind of that Samoan heritage. And typically people like Samoans, they have quite a large build. They carry a lot of muscle mass. So, he's got quite a bulky physique, I want to say. Got some decent height, but it's not weight that and size that weighs him down. So he retains a lot of his speed and a lot of his balance and agility, even though he doesn't move that too quickly around the ring. He has some good athleticism and he's a decent sized heavyweight, but he also has quite a good chin as well. He's been down a few times in his career, twice against Dillian Whyte. Only the second knockdown in that Whyte fight was a legitimate one. But even then, he took Whyte's razor sharp left hook and kind of managed to brush himself off and finish the fight. Not only finishing the fight, but knocking Dillian Whyte down in the 12th round, I believe, and having Whyte in some serious trouble. But then, of course, he also got knocked down by Chisora in the last fight. But I feel like that was more of Chisora just catching Joseph Parker off guard. Was it like 7 seconds into the first round? Strange things happen when you haven't warmed into a fight properly. So I do think that Joseph Parker still has a good chin. Despite these qualities, though, there are two main shortcomings. A lot of people are familiar with the first one, and that is his lack of tenacity. But also another shortcoming of Joseph Parker, another weakness which I don't think is highlighted enough, is his underdeveloped boxing IQ. But both of these shortcomings were on display in the first Chisora fight. And even though Parker has flashes of success, he's unable to get off a consistent stream of offense, which is something that you really need to keep Chisora off. You either need that, or you need a good deal of explosive power and ability to set up a shot a la David Haye, so you can switch Chisora's lights off. Parker doesn't seem to have either, however. Now, moving on to Dereck Chisora, the words Dereck Chisora and good technique are not often mentioned in the same sentence. However, despite that, Chisora, I feel, did display a very good ability to close down the distance on Joseph Parker in the first fight. And when you watch him do it, he'd often switch stances as he's advancing forward, and depending on which stance he was in, he'd use his lead hand and extend it to control the space between them and to pin Parker down, often against the ropes. And once he was in a suitable range, he'd get in some exceptional bodywork that I don't really think got the credit from most people. So combining that, so those shifting tactics as he's come forward with the extended control and the bodywork, combined with Chisora's bobbing and weaving defense, I think it made a difficult target for Joseph Parker, who just kind of resorted to holding a lot of the time, which was quite disappointing. And so overall, it was clear to see from that first fight that the pressuring style of Dereck Chisora was a bad stylistic matchup for Joseph Parker, who, as I say, just lacks that true fire and adjustment. And it's been, for a couple of years now, it's been quite disappointing from Joseph Parker, because I want to like him, I want to rate him highly, but his performances are just flat, and there's nothing to them. However, I think this time around, Dereck's pressure, I don't think it will catch Joseph Parker off guard like it did in the first fight. And so I can see Joseph Parker being better prepared to maintain distance between him and Del Boy. However, I don't feel as if Joseph Parker has been able to drastically improve his IQ enough, and therefore I can't really see him being able to run away with a comfortable lead. So for that reason, I do anticipate another close fight. One that's probably, marginally more comfortable for Joseph Parker than the first fight. I think he might just be able to get a bit more time and a bit more space and maybe get some more offense off. But I do anticipate another close fight, probably falling into a similar pattern as the first fight. This fight, I feel, will probably end in a close unanimous decision in favour of Joseph Parker, probably by 1 or 2 rounds. I want to pick Dereck Chisora, but I don't feel like the judges are going to be on his side, despite the fact that he really is the name between these two, even though Joseph Parker is the former champion. Dereck Chisora is the one with the kind of cult following, but despite that, I don't think he's going to get the rub of the green from the judges, the benefit of the doubt. But I do expect him to bring the same intensity and give another good account of himself and make it a very rough night for Joseph Parker, who I think will just be a bit more accustomed to the pressure and will be able to kind of catch the eyes of the judges enough to just win by 1 or 2 rounds. It'll be interesting to see the development of Joseph Parker, because of course he's had more time with Andy Lee, but Andy Lee, the jury's still out for him. The jury's still out regarding his ability as a coach, I feel, at least. Andy Lee, I feel, was an underrated fighter. It's a fighter I used to really like watching. But as a coach, it doesn't always translate very well. So it will be interesting, because if there are some considerable improvements in Joseph Parker and his ability, I think a lot of that can be credited to Andy Lee. It'll be interesting to see how he kind of fits into the sphere of coaches in boxing. So that is my prediction and breakdown for this fight. Joseph Parker, unanimous decision by 1 or 2 rounds in another close fight. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you agree, disagree? What is your prediction for this fight? How do you think it goes? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.